There is a peculiar kind of exhaustion that does not come from hard labor, nor from the weary miles traveled by the body. It is a tiredness of the soul. It is the exhaustion that comes from carrying a burden that was never yours to carry. Have you ever poured your light into a darkness that refused to be illuminated? Have you ever extended a hand to pull someone up from the edge of a cliff, only to feel them pulling you down into the abyss with them? You offer them a solution, simple, clear, and effective. You give them the map to escape their misery. And yet, instead of gratitude, you receive resentment. Instead of change, you are met with an argument. You find yourself standing in the wreckage of a relationship, wondering how your act of kindness became the catalyst for a war. We are taught that to love is to help. We are told that the noble soul saves others. But the ancients knew a darker, more nuanced truth. There is a paradox woven into the fabric of human nature. Advice given to those who are not ready to hear it does not bring peace. It invites destruction. Draw closer to the fire. Let us speak of the rain, the cold, and the dangerous mistake of trying to build a shelter for those who prefer the storm. Long ago, in the ancient forest near the banks of the Narmada River, the monsoon had arrived early. The sky, usually a piercing blue, was strangled by thick charcoal clouds. The rain did not fall gently, it hammered the earth, turning dust into mud and the air into a biting mist. High within the canopy of a great banyan tree, a community of weaver birds, the baya, had prepared for this season. These birds are nature's architects. With patience and precision, they had woven grass and strips of palm leaf into intricate hanging nests. These nests were engineering marvels, waterproof, warm, and secure, swaying gently in the wind like pendulums of safety. Inside her nest, a female bird sat comfortably. She was dry, she was warm. She watched the storm rage outside, grateful for the work she had done in the weeks prior. Below her, on the thick branches of the same tree, sat a troop of monkeys. They were miserable. They had no shelter. The cold rain soaked their fur, chilling them to the bone. They sat huddled together, teeth chattering, shivering violently, their eyes wide with the distress of the freezing wet. They squeezed their eyes shut, waiting for the misery to end. The weaver bird, looking down from her warm perch, felt a pang of pity. She saw their suffering, and in her innocence she saw a simple solution. She chirped down to the leader of the monkeys. "Oh, brothers," she called out, her voice cutting through the sound of the falling rain. "Look at you, you are suffering terribly." The lead monkey, shivering and irritable, looked up. "What is it to you, little bird?" "I am small," the bird continued, trying to be helpful. "I have only a beak and no hands. Yet with forethought and effort I have built this nest that protects me from the storm. You, on the other hand, are blessed. You have hands like humans. You have legs and strength. Why do you sit there and suffer? If you built a home like I have, you wouldn't have to freeze." It was a logical statement. It was true. It was helpful advice. But to the monkeys, it was not advice. It was an insult. The leader of the monkeys did not hear the logic. He heard humiliation. Here was a creature a fraction of his size, looking down from above, literally and metaphorically, lecturing him on his incompetence. The cold had already made him angry. The shame made him furious. "You silent little thing," the monkey roared, his pride stinging more than the rain. "You think you are wise because you are dry? You think you can mock us from your safety? Let us see how your wisdom helps you now. In a blind rage, the monkey sprang up the branch. He did not build a shelter. He did not seek cover. Instead, he reached out, grabbed the bird's meticulously woven nest, and tore it from the branch. He ripped it apart, scattering the grass into the wind, and threw the ruins down into the mud. The bird, now homeless and terrified, flew away into the storm to save her life. The monkeys remained wet, cold, and miserable, but they felt a twisted satisfaction. They had not fixed their problem, but they had destroyed the mirror that showed them their own laziness. Let the image of that torn nest settle in your mind. How many times have you been that bird? You see a friend in a toxic relationship complaining day after day. You offer the logical solution: leave. You see a family member drowning in debt due to poor choices. You create a budget for them. You see a partner stagnant in their career, and you rewrite their resume. And then the nest is torn down. They attack you. They call you judgmental. They say you think you are better than them. Or perhaps worse, they ignore you completely, repeating the cycle while you exhaust yourself trying to shield them from the rain. We must dissect this, for if we do not understand the mechanism, we will continue to waste our lives. We often disguise our need for control as helping. When the bird spoke to the monkeys, she assumed two things. First, that the monkeys wanted to change, and second, that they were capable of hearing the truth in that moment. The Stoics remind us that we cannot control the ruling faculty of another's mind. When you offer unsolicited advice, you are implicitly saying, "I know better than you." To a person who is already suffering, who is already feeling wet and cold in life, this comes across as a claim of superiority. The ego of the sufferer will always choose self-defense over self-improvement. They would rather destroy your peace than admit their own failure. This is the crucial distinction you must learn. Most people who come to you with their problems are not looking for a solution. They are looking for validation. They want you to witness their pain, not fix it. They want to be told that their suffering is not their fault. When you offer a solution, you are stripping them of their victimhood. You are handing them responsibility. The monkeys did not want to build a house. That requires work. They wanted the rain to stop, or they wanted to complain about the rain. When you hand a hammer to someone who only wants to cry about the hole in the wall, they will likely use the hammer to hit you. This is the Saviour complex. We invest our energy into potential. We fall in love with who a person could be, not who they are. We see the hands of the monkey and think, they could build a palace. But we ignore the mind of the monkey, which refuses to pick up a stick. When you try to save someone, you tie your emotional stability to their actions. If they succeed, you feel good. If they fail, you feel defeated. You have given them the power to dictate your peace. This is not compassion. This is a lack of boundaries. So, how do we live with a compassionate heart without being destroyed? How do we stop being the bird that gets its nest torn down? We must employ the 3 gatekeepers of wisdom before we speak or act. The first gatekeeper, the ask. Have they asked for the fire, or are they just complaining about the cold? This is the most difficult discipline. When you see someone struggling, your instinct is to jump in. Stop. Wait. In Zen, the teacher does not speak until the student is empty. If the cup is full of self-righteousness or complaint, no tea can be poured in. If you offer help before it is requested, you are violating the dignity of their own journey. You are robbing them of the lesson that their suffering is trying to teach them. Pain is often the only teacher arrogant people listen to. By removing their pain prematurely, you interrupt their curriculum. Let them freeze. It sounds cruel, but it is the only way they will realize they need to build. The second gatekeeper, the capacity. Do they have the ears to hear? The Sanskrit text Hitopadesha, from which our story comes, holds a verse, Upadesho hi murkanam prakopaya na shantaye. This translates to, advice given to fools invites anger, not peace. A fool in this philosophical context is not a stupid person. It is a person whose ego is currently louder than their reason. You cannot explain color to a man who refuses to open his eyes. You cannot discuss architecture with a monkey who only knows how to break branches. Assess the capacity of the person in front of you. If they have a history of destroying the help given to them, stop giving it. To continue is no longer generosity, it is your own foolishness. The third gatekeeper, the detachment. Can I offer this without attachment to the outcome? If you advise someone and they ignore it, do you feel angry? Do you feel betrayed? If the answer is yes, then you are not giving a gift. You are making a transaction. You are trading your advice for their compliance. True wisdom is like the sun. The sun shines on the garden and the garbage heap alike. It does not get angry if the garbage does not bloom. It simply shines. If you must help, give it and walk away. Do not stand over them waiting for a return on your investment. In our modern lives, this dynamic drains us more than we realize. We have friends who treat us like emotional trash cans, dumping their negativity on us for hours, rejecting every solution, and leaving us exhausted while they walk away feeling lighter. We have partners we try to fix, thinking our love will cure their addiction, their laziness, or their trauma. You must change your metaphor. Stop trying to be the lifeboat. A lifeboat goes into the storm. It is small, easily capsized. If a drowning person panics and grabs the lifeguard, both drown. This is what happens when you get too involved in someone's chaos. Instead, become the lighthouse. The lighthouse stands on the solid rock. It does not run into the waves to save the ships. It does not scream at the wind. It simply stands. It shines a light. The ships that are looking for the way will see the light and adjust their course. The ships that are lost in their own madness will ignore the light and crash against the rocks. But, and this is vital, the lighthouse does not weep for the ship that chose to crash. It does not dim its light because the captain was blind. It remains steadfast. By trying to save everyone, you dim your own light, you exhaust your resources, and a lighthouse with no light saves no one. It requires a terrifying amount of courage to watch someone you care about make a mistake. It goes against every instinct to stand back while the rain falls on them. But you must realize that you are not the author of their story. You are a character in their book, perhaps a guide, but you cannot hold the pen for them. The next time you feel the urge to offer the perfect advice or to fix a mess you didn't make, pause. Remember the weaver bird. Look at the person in front of you. Are they asking for a nest? Or are they simply angry at the rain? If they are not ready, your silence is the greatest kindness you can offer. Protect your peace, build your own nest high and strong, and let your example be the advice. Because in the end, the only people you can truly save are the ones who are already swimming towards you. Thank you for sitting by the fire with me. If this story resonated with the weary parts of your soul, leave a mark in the comments below. Share your story of when you learned to stop casting pearls before swine. Until next time, guard your light.